everyone, it's Marianne. Welcome to my Wasteless Life. For today's video, I'm sharing with you my fall houseplant tour. Thank you so much for joining me today, and if you're new, this is my Wasteless Life, where I take you along my plant and sustainable lifestyle journey and share with you some of my tips and tricks along the way. So for today's video, I'm sharing with you the rest of my houseplant tour. If you haven't seen it yet, I just released my fall plant bedroom tour video, which I would link up here and also down in the description. So if you'd like, pause this video and watch that first, or you can watch this one and then watch that video. It doesn't matter. But as a continuation from that video, let's find out if I actually was able to hit my goal of downsizing my plants to under 80 plants from having over 100 plants at the beginning of the year. So before I take you downstairs and share with you the rest of my house plants, I just want to give a brief overview of the plants that you're about to see. So most of these plants I actually have outside during the growing season, so they're normally not inside the house. And some of the plants that you would see in the video, but I probably will not mention or talk about, are plants that do not belong to me. So I'm only going to go over the plants that I do own, which honestly still most of them are my plants. And some of the house plants are not technically house plants, but are plants that I'm just winterizing because I hope to grow them again next spring to produce more produce for us. But yeah, so come with me downstairs and let's check the plants that I have. And let's take a look at the plants in the family room. And here in the console, I have two plants, my SCINDAPSUS PICTUS ARGYREUS. This is actually the only SCINDAPSUS PICTUS ARGYREUS plant that I have. Most of the duplicates that I have, I already gave away. And the mother plant is actually in the prop box, which I'm going to show you later. And in here is a SCINDAPSUS PICTUS EXOTICA that I was growing in PAFCAL. You've probably seen that in a previous video. So here is my pineapple plant. It's usually outside, but I'm bringing it in for the winter, of course. And this is on its second to third year, so I'm hoping maybe next summer it would actually start to bear fruit that we would see. And this is my holiday cactus. Yep, it is starting to bloom. I'm very excited. I actually placed this outside because to get your holiday or Christmas or Thanksgiving cactus to bloom, they actually need the cold. So for a while I was actually placing it outside, even though I put all my plants back inside already, and it started to bloom. But now I have to bring it inside because it is getting too cold. And here is my golden pothos that I staked up in a pole right over here. And I think I did an IG reel restaking this up because it has grown too large and too big for itself. And I actually might have to do it again next year. They're underneath this lamp with the grow light from Sensi. Full disclosure, the company sent it to me. If you want to purchase one for yourself, I'll link it down in the description. And behind the Christmas tree, here's my dog, hi baby. And right behind the Christmas tree, we have my spider plants. At first I was gonna give this away, but it survived the culling. And back there is the spider bunny, the curly version of the spider plant. And here is my original Haworthia, the very first one that I got even before I started collecting plants. And right here by the kitchen sink, I have this POTHOS Enjoy, I think, pearls or jade pothos that I propagated. But since I propagated them, I think from node or very small leaves, it just retained its small size. So I really like that about it. So it's been compact like this and stayed compact like this. And I'm trying to do the same with my SCINDAPSUS ARGYREUS that's in my prop box. And here I have a pink Syngonium propagation that I've been meaning to combine with my Syngonium confetti that I also combined with another pink Syngonium. So I might do that sometime. And this one is another SCINDAPSUS PICTUS EXOTICA propagation. I've been propagating in water for a while, and this one I probably pot up as a plant by itself and give it to my brother for his apartment. And now let's check out my plants in the living room. And let's start with over here. These are my most prized and favorite plants, starting of course with the Thai constellation MONSTERA that I won from Costa Farms. It's right over here. It's doing well so far, except that it has a few tears on the leaves because it keeps getting moved around, but like over here. But so far it's doing good. It has so far only produced one leaf for me, which is this one with lots of fenestrations. And there's an incoming one over here, but I think it has already moved to dormancy. So, but you can see up here, this large leaf has a little bit of curling. I think that is from the cold. That's why I try to keep the windows down at night whenever I can. And this one is my fiddle-leaf fig, also doing well. And what's fascinating about this one is, as you can see down there, it has sprouted a new leaf at the bottom. So that's really interesting, but also doing well. I know a lot of people have problems with their fiddle-leaf figs, but for me so far, I never really had any issues with my fiddle-leaf fig. So ever since I've gotten it for like almost 3 years now, knock on wood. And here is my Monstera deliciosa. And this one is actually not my mother plant. This is a propagation of the mother plant, but this is the one that has the more mature fenestrated leaves like this one. And because I separated this from the mother plant early this year, like at the start of the growing season or right before the growing season, this one hasn't really produced any new leaf for me except for this one, I believe. And at the base of it, I placed some of my POTHOS propagations like my Manjula, my Philodendron Brazil, Pearls and Jade, some Snow Queen and Marble Queen, and also some Golden Pothos. Over here, I have my FICUS AUDREY. I did a video on this on how to get your ficus plants to branch, which applies for any type of ficus plant. But for the FICUS AUDREY, I was really successful with it. As you can see, I have made it branch over here and also right over there. And back here is my mango plant, which is my pride and joy because this one, I grew this from seed. And this has also been with me for like 2 to 3 years now. And it really grew this year, grew several branches on top. So I'm really excited about that. I put that outside during the summer, but now since it is the cold season, it has to be brought back in. So it is right between a west and south facing window. So I try to give it as much light as I can. But during gloomy autumn days like this, we do have the chandelier light on to give a little bit more light for the plants down here. It's not exactly a grow light, but more light for the plants. And as you can see outside, it is fall. And behind the sofa and right next to the south facing windows are some of my plants that I normally keep outside, at least for the most part. This one's my ZZ plant. This one is normally inside, and I did pot my ZZ Raven together with it just to save space. And here is my avocado plant. This one I almost culled this year too, but this, like the mango plant, I did grow from seed. So I also don't want to regret giving it up, since this is the only avocado that I was able to successfully grow from seed. And below it, I did plant the TRADESCANTIA linen, which I'm not a big fan of, but since it survived underneath there, it's not really bothering the avocado plant. It is there. And over here is my Moonshine Sansevieria plant. I think this is the only snake plant I have, at least snake plant that I own. And this was not exactly a house plant, it's my jalapeno. I am trying to winterize it, so I brought it back in. I had this for a couple growing seasons now, and when I brought it back this growing season, it did produce a lot of fruit, so I'm hoping to winterize it again so that it would grow again next growing season. But as you can see, it still has lots of fruit that needs to be harvested. And here is my eucalyptus plant, my second attempt in having one. But as you can see, the leaves are drying out, so I also probably need to prune this. Here is my autograph plant that I potted with the aloe vera, again, just to save space. And this one I've also been trying to let go, but I also hesitate because I might regret it, because this is also one of those cuttings and propagations that I originally got from Miami as a cutting from the sidewalk of a hotel in Miami. And I was really surprised that I was successfully propagated this from that cutting. And my aloe vera plant, this one produced a lot of baby pups for me. So every spring and every fall, I would harvest all those pups and just give it out to my neighbors. So over here is the Tomatophyllum bifidum. Normally I have this outside, but of course I had to bring it back in for the winter season. I do need to prune it down though, so that it's not using up a lot of energy to sustain itself. And right next to the Tomatophyllum bifidum is the Monstera deliciosa mother plant actually. And when I repotted this early spring, right before the growing season, this was essentially all just nodes, and I just had it outside, let it do its thing, and it grew all these leaves during the growing season while it was outside. So come next growing season, what I'm going to do is, as you can see, there are different grow points all over this node. So what I'm going to do is just chop it off in the internodes and let it be its own plant. I would definitely bring them outside, but not sure if I'm going to be keeping them the entire growing season, or I'm just going to be selling off or giving away some of the plants and propagations off this one. And right over here is my prop box. So let me show you what's in it. So first off is my MONSTERA ADANSONIT. I had to chop it off because it was suffering from root rot. But if you've watched any of my previous videos, especially my care video on the MONSTERA ADANSONIT, I had this growing up on a pole, really trying to grow up and grow large leaves, but it suffered root rot. It was previously in leca, but I think I let the leca dry out and then tried to put water in it. It led to root rot, so I just have to chop it off. And it was also suffering from scales, so I just had to chop it off and save what I could. And now it's in a prop box, doing well, starting to produce some roots. I could already see some roots already poking out of the drainage hole, so that's a good sign. So when this one has fully established itself as a plant, I would likely stake it up like I did with the golden POTHOS plant. And another one in my prop box is the SCINDAPSUS PICTUS ARGYREUS. This one is actually the mother plant. I had to repot it a couple months ago because it was very root bound and I had so much yellowing leaves, something that usually happens with my SCINDAPSUS ARGYREUS when it's transitioning to colder weather. So the other one survived. I gave that away, and this one didn't, so I just had to like chop it off and start all over, and just put it in a prop box, and now it's starting to sprout out new leaves. And over here is my MONSTERA ADANSONIT narrow form, and I gave out my original MONSTERA ADANSONIT narrow form in my fall plant purge, and I did keep some of the nodes and put it in here, and now those nodes have sprouted out new leaves. So I guess I have another MONSTERA ADANSONIT narrow form. Not sure what I'm doing with this, if I'm going to keep this or I'm just going to give it away or sell it, but right now it is in a prop box and it's actually doing well, especially for something that were just fully nodes when I stuck it in this pot. So next prop here is my SCINDAPSUS Silver Hero, and this one is pushing out a new leaf as well. So, and the mother plant is in the IKEA greenhouse cabinet. Well, technically that's the mother plant, but actually this was also part of my Etsy import that was a fail. This was one of the nodes that I was able to salvage and rehab and propagate, and now it's producing new leaves, so that is awesome. And I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I don't think I'm going to combine it with the mother plant, but I might use this for future trades or sell it off next spring. This is my SCINDAPSUS PICTUS ARGYREUS propagations. These are smaller leaves that are purposely put all together in this pot and make it compact like I did with the POTHOS Pearls and Jade that I have by the kitchen sink. So hopefully when this propagates, and I think it's propagating well, it would remain small and compact and more of a terrarium plant like the Pearls and Jade POTHOS that I just mentioned. And this one is I forgot what this is. I think this is a MONSTERA Stadleiana, but I might be mistaken. It could be the Epipremnum pinnatum variegata. I will know once this new growth has produced a new leaf and unfurled. I do think it's the Epipremnum pinnatum variegata based on the node and the stem, but we will see when that happens. I'm actually surprised this one also survived because I think the last time I checked this prop box, the leaf it originally has rotted off, and then I just kept it in there just in case the node itself, because it has some root growth already, it would survive and push out new growth, and I'm glad that it actually did. But yeah, that's the one. And last but not the least is my SYNGONIUM ALBO. If you've seen my SYNGONIUM ALBO prop video, basically kind of like the MONSTERA ADANSONIT, I had the SYNGONIUM ALBO really high already, but it just became too lanky or leggy for me, so I just decided to cut it off base. Nothing was wrong with it, no root rot, no anything, but I just want to cut it from the base. And as you can see, it's starting to push out new leaf. This one has lots of green in it, but the next leaf that it's trying to produce is pretty much ALBO, kind of like with this one. It's completely ALBO, and this node over here has 2 new growth points, which is exciting. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this one or keep the single leaf cuttings that I have in the IKEA greenhouse cabinet and pop that up into a new plant. Not really sure yet, That's something for me to decide next growing season. I might just sell off or trade off the single leaf cuttings, or keep that one and sell this one off. We don't know yet, but this is technically the mother plant of my Syngonium ALBO. So those are all the plants in my prop box. They're essentially going to stay here during the entirety of the winter season. They'll be right next to the south facing window. I don't have any problems with humidity for this because it is in a tightly sealed box, and the box is transparent so light does go through it, and this one has a little bit better temperature control than the ones that are just sitting right next to the window. So I think it's going to be okay, but we will see and check back next spring and see what happens to them. So that completes my houseplant tour. So by my count, I do have 21 plants downstairs that belong to me and propagations. So I have 21 plants downstairs and 50 plants in my bedroom. So in total, I have 71 houseplants that belong to me. So that means I actually reached my goal of downsizing my plants under 80 and hit my ultimate goal of keeping it between 70 to 75 with 71 total houseplants. So I'm really happy that I was able to reach my goals. But as you can see, I still have some duplicate plants and plants that I could potentially get rid of next year, which I plan to do since there are plants that I still want to add to my collection. But I really want to keep my plants under 70 next year. We'll see what happens. I actually, the plant nerd that I am, I did a data analysis of my plant collections. So basically breaking down all the numbers of how many plants I have, how many died, how many I propagated, how many plants I bought, how many of those plants that I bought actually survived, how many I traded, sold, gave away. So all the statistics of my house plants I did, and I'll probably share with you in an upcoming video during Vlogmas in case you're interested with that kind of plant nerdy stuff. And as I mentioned in my fall plant collection video, the numbers don't tell the entire picture, but it's also fascinating to look at the numbers, to check the statistics and analyze the data of my plants this year. And I don't know, I might even come up with pie charts and graphs to show you in a future video during Vlogmas when I do my year-end evaluation for my houseplants and plant journey this year. I have a Black Friday sale going on, so please do check that out. The link is down in the description. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new here, I hope you subscribe. I come up with videos every week. Thank you so much. I see you. I appreciate you. Take care of yourself and each other, and have a plentiful holiday season. Bye.